أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. I begin with the name of the Most High. You see what I'm saying? Welcome to another episode of Sidewalk and Gutter University, Swag University. And I would like to welcome you to the continuation of our journey. This topic, this episode is about the Big Bang. It's entitled "Let There Be Light." Okay, so we're going to start off. We already went through our journey and the premise and our methodology. So now we're talking about the beginning of the universe, as we know, right? So before the beginning of the universe, there was this thing called pre-eternity. You have pre-eternity, which is all the time before the universe was created, and post-eternity, which is the time after the universe will no longer exist as we know it. But the question is, I want to bring you guys' attention to the question of whether we have a beginning, like us as humans have a beginning, like us and our true identity, right? Because think about it. We all know that God knows everything, but here's the question. The real thing is that it's not that God knows everything. It's that God's knowledge is limitless, meaning God's knowledge has no beginning and no end, which means we have always been in the knowledge of God, which means we have always existed. I'm gonna let that sink in. I'm gonna let that marinate. Okay, I'm gonna let that marinate. All right, that's real game for y'all. Okay, now. We've always existed in the knowledge of God. How? That's according to His knowledge. We don't know that. We not even post. I don't even want to know. Okay, but we know that we have always existed, right? So, but the first thing that God created, that most religious traditions, most spiritual, philosophical traditions agree on, is that God created light. Whose light? That's a topic of another discussion. But we know that God created light. Okay. Now. And so everything is light. Everything is made out of light. And there's this saying that that God was a hidden treasure and He wished to be known. So He created the creation to know Him, right? And so think about this. So stars, suns, planets are all made out of light. The electromagnetic spectrum from radio waves to gamma rays. Radio waves are like closer to red, and gamma rays are closer to like the frequency of blue, right? The electromagnetic spectrum tells us that everything is light. All that changes is its frequency and wavelength. The greater the wavelength, the lower the frequency, and the shorter the wavelength, the higher the frequency, right? And then there's a slither of within the electromagnetic spectrum called visible light, and that's everything we can see from red to blue and everything in between. Okay, so everything is made out of light, and we're gonna come to this later on when we talk about the theory of relativity, Einstein's theory of relativity. Okay, so light was the first thing created. Everything is made out of light, and then that gets to the question of science and religion. Now, the thing that I love about as you know, on this YouTube channel, we talk about everything and we pull from every source that will help us have a greater understanding of ourselves. So I want to bring you guys attention. So what that means is I might be talking about the Analects of Confucius, or the Apology of Socrates, or the Gospels of Christ, or the Old Testament. I might be talking about the Avesta of Zoroaster, or we might talk about the Rig Veda or the Upanishads in Hinduism. It don't matter. If it's answering the question, if it's leading us to a greater knowledge of ourselves, that's what we're talking about. This episode, I want to bring you guys attention to a verse in the Quran. It's chapter 21, the chapter of the prophets, and it's verse. What verse is this? Verse 30. The Quran, chapter 21, verse 30, and it says, "Do not the disbelievers see, or don't they realize that the heavens and the earth was once one mass, one solid entity, one single entity, and God split them apart, and God created out of every living thing water. Will they still not believe?" Now here's the thing. It just in this one verse in the Quran, God is talking about the foundations of like multiple sciences, mainly physics and biology, because biology will tell you that every living thing is created out of water. Every chemical reaction that every biological chemical reaction has to take place in an aqueous solution in water, and then the other one is physics, and it tells you that it tells you that that it leads me to this the theory of the grand unified theory, which says that nanoseconds after what we call the Big Bang are the differentiation of this one mass, that energy differentiated into four main forces: strong nuclear forces, weak nuclear forces, electricity and magnetism, and gravity. Okay? Now, so basically everything is one. Everything goes back to one, bro. Okay? And that leads us to our so that leads us to our next question, our next topic, which is the first law of thermodynamics, which says which says energy is neither created nor destroyed. And if you ever took a biology class and you had to balance a chemical equation, you know that the amount of atoms and molecules that you have on one side of the equation, it has to equal the amount that's on the other side, the reactants and the results. I forgot the scientific name, but basically it's called the conservation of mass, and that's because of the first law of thermodynamics, which says that energy is neither created nor destroyed. And this energy that we're talking about is just light. It's light that, like, so, and that brings us to our next topic, which is the theory of relativity from Einstein, and it basically is E equals mc squared, right? And that means that energy equals the mass of a certain thing times the speed of light squared. But it basically is saying that energy equals mass. Energy is mass. Energy. So like the solid stuff that we see, like planets, because I know you guys probably are asking the question. Everything is made out of light. We know stars and the stars are made out of light. That's like readily apparent, right? And the sun is one star, and all like. And 99.9% of all the mass in the solar system is the sun. All the other planets is like that 0.1% in the solar system. But here's the question: how are planets made out of light? And then what it is basically it's congealed, slowed down light, densified light. Right? So it's like basically if you take light and you slow it down and you cool it off, and you make it dense, that's all matter is. And here's the proof. When we eat food, right? All you eating is light. You eating something that either came out of the dirt, that grew from and that lived off of photosynthesis, which is plants absorbing light through their chloroplast, which is in the cell. It's the stuff that it's the organelle that makes the cell green, or it's something that ate either was an omnivore or herbivore like a cow or a chicken, but you basically you eating something that grew from absorbing light, or you eating something that ate something that grew that absorbed light. Bottom line is it all comes from light. All of our energy comes from the sun. Everything is made out of light. You are too, and that's the whole point of this. You feel me? Is this YouTube channel? You know what I'm saying? Sidewalk University, Prince got an ace. Alhamdulillah, subhanaka Allahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.